You have been warned. You can see the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. It might be a little laggy today. If you guys have never been to the Farm Progress Show, it is one of the greatest outdoor farming expos in America. This one is based upon the Boone, Iowa variant. While some of the booths are in their corresponding spots, some of them are a little different. Farm Progress is super special because all of the different brands from all of the different regions around the world come together to show off their latest technologies to offer to you, the consumer, to help best on your farm. I'm probably going to have to buy a hat at some point. I didn't really bring anything, but that was for reasons that I'm not willing to admit. Grant got mad at me one of the times we went. I came home with 35 hats. And yes, that is indeed a true story. Ooh. What are you? I don't see too many of those things lying around. I know they have more options at the real show, but I kind of like that one. $25 later, I got my hat. Another thing these shows are known for is having field demos where you can go out and watch them do the tillage, harvesting, spraying, as well as a couple ride-alongs. Those do not start up, however, until about 9 o'clock, so we're going to have to kind of keep sifting around the show. If we head just up to the north, we got New Holland mixed with Case because of, CNH. Very nice forage harvester. I'd still really like to get one of these for the hay farm, but that Jaguar, man, I love the Jaguar. Big old four-wheel drive. And I've seen one of these where it's got the tracks for the rear wheels, but I can't remember if it was a Case or a New Holland. I think it was a Case. Must be like one of their grape harvesters. I don't really see too many of these things. Sure sits high up off the ground. Are those big buds? Sorry, New Holland, you guys might have to wait. But a 525, a Series 1 250, and the behemoth itself. There's a voice crack for you. Look at how massive this thing is. That is not what she said. I don't remember how tall the Farm Sim character is, but if this dude's at least close to 6 foot tall, I would be an absolute peanut compared to this thing. I'm putting it on my bucket list. I do want to see this tractor at one point in my life. Maybe the character is just the same height as me because it seems just about right compared to the hood. To be fair, that's a picture of me standing next to the brand new 700 at, Farm Progress 2 years ago? Okay, back to Case. There's the 715. I saw this last year. I was amazed at, how wide the hood is on this. AF11, pretty much the largest combine. Hey, they brought a 1206 in. Skid loaders. And then the Farm All C. Oh, they're doing a comparison. Gotcha. And then just some Magnums. That's a nice square baler. Cow fart tractor. Now, we're not going to go into each and every single booth, but I do kind of want to hit a couple hot spots because some of them, like Ford, Chevy, John Deere, Polaris, they have like these ride and drive, and you can go and test drive the vehicle or do like a simulation base to look around and see how the vehicle might perform. We're just going to forget that those things even exist. That's my kind of truck. 350 Lariat. Hey, look at this thing. Press start. Okay. Oh, because this is the VA one. Yeah, in today's market, that's about a $130,000 truck. This is more my speed. You guys are always asking, what truck is your favorite? Which pickup would you take? I'm more of a car guy. Now, I don't think I'd want a dark horse Mustang, but I certainly have had my fair share of building the new 5.0s just to see what they look like. And this one does have a 6-speed, so it was done right. Got a nice transit van. What is that, a 450? Ooh, that is a really nice pickup. You got Dakota. That's probably Wilson. There's Landall. Oh, this is Macdon. Okay, I wondered who this was when I came by. Pickup headers, swathers. Oh, wait, that's Versatile, so that's Big Roy. I think what we're going to do is we're going to check back with you guys when we're over at the field demos, and then we'll come back to the show and see a few more. Come on, buddy, get going. I got places to be. But would you look at those behemoths? This has got a 16-row header on it. I have never in my life seen a Case IH header bigger than a 12-row. I don't know where the 16 rows exist. Most commonly, I see them in 8-row configurations. Getting started on the corn harvest, we're going to be in the S7 800. The machine we're using as it sits is about $380,000 for the combine and the $140,000 for the header. Now, my personal favorite brand has to be John Deere, mainly because I was born and raised around these things. but I also just love their control set. Though I will say, I think Case IH has a little more simplistic layout. We are going a bit slower. This is some very high yielding corn, but it's taking it in. And you guys can see after just one pass, we're basically at about 10% on the hopper. Looks like that's the tillage crew. Let's jump our way over to the next harvester and see how well it can perform. Coming up next is the monster, that is the AF11. We're gonna get the Navi set up. This being the 16 row. We'll be running off the same paths that the Deere did. Get all of our separator on, as well as our fans. I think we are set. We're gonna catch that end stock? No, we are not, because it kicked itself off the line. It doesn't like this track. There it goes. Could get the satellite to hook up. But this is kind of what I mean by Case IH's setup looks a little bit more simplistic. Yes, there's a lot of buttons still on that right panel, but compared to the Deere, and most certainly any sort of AGCO brand, bless Fent's heart, I couldn't even think on how to control any of that, because I think every single function in that tractor has its own button. I swear it does. This is the combine that Austin used back in our Bucked Up Hay series, and it was a monster. I think he had the 18-row gearing Hoff mounted on it, but it is smooth sailing with the axial flow. These things are known for having a really good rotor system and usually throws out very little crop out the back. Sometimes I understood the joke that Deere made the better tractors and Case made the better combine. Does that sound accurate? A machine like this compared to that S7800 is about double the price. This is almost $1 million combine. It actually might be $1 million combine. After some research, if you probably add a dealer markup to it and taxes, yeah, this setup as it is probably about $1 million. Kind of surprised they don't have an X9 for Deere out to harvest, but the S-Series is more than likely what the average consumer is going to buy. This combine is far superior in the power level to that 7800, so we're able to munch down a little faster at about 5 to 6. I think we'll do ourselves one last pass, and then we are going to jump over to the Gleaner, everybody's favorite AGCO combine. It might not be everyone's favorite, but it certainly has its fan base. I would prefer to have the one with the big duals on it, but they brought out one that had the tracks. The Gleaner really never changed in its body style. The only thing they really did was just put a modern AGCO cab on this. Where does the steering assist put the lanes? Yeah, that might be right on the money. And the Gleaner is rolling, and man is this thing loud. 12 row doesn't take nearly as much power, so once again we're able to chop it about 4 to 5. That side panel's not as confusing as I thought it'd be, but we'll have to head down to the AGCO booth at some point and see what they got. Looks like we only got one row left. I just can't believe that lined up as good as it did. But you guys can let me know down in the comments section, what is your thoughts on Farm Progress? Is it something you would like to attend, or are you gonna be going? And what specific things will you be looking at when you go to a farm show? That's enough of the harvesting. Let's jump ourselves back to the show, go check that out for a bit, and we'll come back when they get started with the tillage. You know how I can tell it's Wednesday? Look at all the school buses. You can definitely tell FFA is here. If you want to go to the show on the days when it's the busiest, go on a Wednesday. Farm Progress for 2025 is going to be happening on the very last week of August. I think it's the 27th through the 29th. I do plan to be there all 3 days. If you guys would like to meet me, I'll be stationed mainly at the John Deere booth with Andy. Hold on, does JCB have like their event? Yes, they do! So if you guys are old enough, at JCB's booth, sometimes they'll have like a try our skid steer out and see how well you can either stack or play Plinko with something. And our goal is to put that pallet on top of the boxes. I don't know if it's tall enough. We have to use the boom part. Whoa, we're going backwards. But this should be pretty straightforward. Just got to put our forks in. See if I can do this in first person, because no, you can't do third person in real life. Get my camera lined up. Oh, nope, we will need to go up just a little bit. Aha! I think I got it. Beautiful. Yeah, the thing I love the most about the JCB Teleskid is just the visibility. The single boom definitely would take some getting used to, as well as the offset cab. But when you're thinking from a safety standard that you can get out on one side and not have to worry about the boom when it comes down, I just find that to be super, super practical. And I really like how they let you try out the machine yourself at this booth. So if you guys are old enough and you go to the JCB booth and they have this, definitely go and try out the skid steer. It is so much fun. Okay, what next? Actually, let's see if we can find AGCO. I have to grab the map. I don't know where the map's at. Can you see what I mean by there's a lot of equipment? I think this is the AGCO booth. I'm pretty certain of it, because this is AGI, this is Vermeer, and then this is, I think it's a bin site company. See if we can squeeze around. Like Great Plains. There's Morton. If I were building somewhere, I would like to have a shed like this. There's Chevrolet. They got some really nice looking high countries out here. There's the hospitality booth. Kloss. We'll have to go check out Kloss at some point. Oh, it's Meridian. That's who it was. Because this is AGI. I think, yeah, there's a low boy. There's Vermeer. Yep, there's AGCO. It's a tiny orchard tractor. There's something about Fendt that I just cannot really get my head around. What the heck is that? Let me check on this thing. There's just something about him that I just do not... Yeah, see what I mean? Look at that. Why is there like 7,000 buttons? Who needs that many buttons? There's nothing against Fendt. Really, there's nothing against Fendt. I just cannot get behind this super over-engineered interface. I do, however, like the Rotigator. I got to use this thing when I was down at Nate's, and it really just, it worked. It was really, really nice. Let me go check out Vermeer, see what they got. They got my self-propelled baler I used back in Bucked Up Hay. Oh, they got the little front loader things, the multi ones. I still want to get one of those some point. I really do apologize for the lag, guys. You could just tell how much equipment's out here. It really is putting some stress on my computer. Dalton, that's the new toolbar that just came out. That thing looks real nice. There's Gearinghoff with all of its headers. And yep, there is Unverfirth. I was very surprised there is not very many Unverfirth mods in 25. But I do like checking out the new house that they always have built up. It's kind of interesting to see what the interiors look like. Very simplistic looking farmhouse. This would be a nice house to start the Nebraska Farm series with. Except I kind of like to have a decent sized garage. That is a small bathroom. Yeah, look at the garage of this place. That couldn't even fit a small car, let alone a pickup. It's a really nice place when you look at it. It doesn't look like it's really that expensive. But this is 2025. Chevy does not have a test drive area, even though they usually do. They had some really nice trucks sitting out. Kloss has a very interesting booth. Oh, there's Kubota. I wondered where they were at. I think they had one of those sitting out at the corn demo holding the auger wagon. This is what, wait, no. They have a wheeled one. The Kloss Jaguar takes the cake. I don't know what it is about a Jaguar, but it just, to me, that is, when someone says picture a forage harvester, that's what I picture. But look at that thing. That is a beauty. It's the computer mouse tractor. You know, it's like the AI-driven one. You can just tell it where to go and it'll drive itself. No, thank you. Big old Lexion inside the hutch. It's a big header on this. We're within walking distance, so I might as well go check out Kubota. Got an M8. Let's buy an M7. Yep. Side-by-sides, front loaders. Ooh, tractor. Very nice. Got a box scraper on it. Four-seater. Ooh, it's the hay tractor. This was a really solid unit. When I used this on Bucked Up Hay, it was a very solid tractor. The M8 with a rear set of duals. It needed more weight in the back when I would go load round bales. But overall, this was a very solid tractor. I would buy this one again. 10 out of 10. Oh, I found Dodge. I thought I saw 95. I was like, oh, that's Grant and Spencer's. Nope, they're both the big ones. Anyways, on to Dodge. Yep, the only thing I'd buy here is the 5500. I think they're getting ready to start doing tillage demos, so we might as well get our butt over there so we can get some action with those guys. Starting off our tillage demos is going to be the brand new Case Quadtrac 715 with the Salford 1260 series. This is a part of the Plains and Prairie pack. And I think I just watched a video based on, maybe not this series, but and it is very interesting how Salford has incorporated some of their new technology. They apparently have like a hydraulic controlled shank, but it still allows you to do vertical tilling while also doing cultivation. And then in the back, it has the tines and a rolling basket. Rolling baskets is what Grant wants on his plots. The soil type that he runs is just not really built to have these tines on it. Well, they still work. They're just not as good as, say, a basket would be breaking up the clumps. So the 715, I wanted to sit in this thing over at the case booth, but I never really, got to, or never really did it. But navigation's gonna get lined up. It's breaking up that crop stubble nicely, but it does not have the shanks on it, so we are not really getting any deep tillage. Let's jump over to the Landau and see how well that one does. With the Landau being another vertical till applicator, it's probably going to give us about the same field texture as the Salford did. My only concern is that because I know this mod is done differently than a lot of the other ones, it very well could produce a better black seedbed dirt because of the way it's scripted. So let's drop this sucker and see what we get. Because it'll mulch in the front. And yep, just as I figured. Look at the difference in the seedbed. With the front discs doing a mulching effect, it then allows the back half of the discs to really dig down into the soil better. That is why we use the Landau so much in this game. It's a one-step does all. Another mod that does this is Rooster Mod's 712 Field Mulcher, except the only difference is, while it has the mulching discs in the front, it's got a chisel plow shank in the back. We're labeled down as mulched when we go to soil compaction, but in our growth tab, we actually have stubble tillage in the right-hand side and seedbed on the left. The Landau did it all in one, so we do not have to go over this again with something else. Just look at the dirt difference. You got all of that residue now completely buried in and it's ready to go versus the Salford stuff where it left quite a bit of stuff on the top. If that had the cultivator shanks built in, that would be a completely different ball game and it would probably be taking on the Landau. But again, two different applications for two different styles of tillage. Lastly, looks to be the mock till from Kinsey, and that is on none other than a Fendt. The mock till, I'm not really sure what to think of this. I know this is a high-speed tiller, but I think it's more of a vertical till. I think these are all vertical tills, but they kind of do it in a different fashion. Yeah, look at how fast we're able to go with this. But just like the Salford, it's only doing stubble tillage. You could plant into this if you wanted to. It's not meant to do deep tillage. It's just enough to really clear the stalks out and get it ready for the next round of crops. I think we'll jump down to the sprayers, watch them get some of that weed treatment in our plot directly off to our left. We're going to have to get all this stuff shuffled over, but the sprayers will go through, and then these guys will just finish up the rest of the tillage on top of that. I'm not going to lie, I really like the wheeled version of this. It also sounds amazing, and this is a very spacious cab. This would be considered their Class 9 tractor, and usually on a four-wheel drive, it has the articulation in the middle. Well, there's no articulation on this thing. You just get the wheels to offset themselves, and it can walk sideways this way, sideways this way. You can still have it turned tight like a four-wheel drive, but just in a compact area where the tractor itself is not moving, it's only the wheels. Representing AGCO will be the Rogator. I don't know why I said Rotigator. I think I was thinking a Terragator. This is their smallest configuration that they offer. It's a 27-meter boom width. That's about 88 feet. And the largest you can get it up to is 40 meters, which is about 132 feet. The Fendt also has that quad steering, unlike the Deere, where it is just the fronts. And both sprayers have the spot and spray. These are about as advanced and as expensive as they come. What I love the most about spot spraying is it individually will spray each weed, saving you time, money, and supply. This thing's gonna sound like a typewriter, but believe me, it'll be cool. It's very, very quick, but as the sprayer sees the weeds, each individual nozzle is going to trigger, therefore getting rid of the weed. But it's really, really cool how much chemical this can save you. If I still had to pick a sprayer to use on the farm, I'd probably use a John Deere, just more familiar with it. But the Rogator definitely puts a run for its money in that spot. This one is just super, and I mean super duper expensive. One company I'm surprised did not show up to this event is Deutzfahr. Yeah, it's German, but, you know, Fendt isn't really Americanly used. It's primarily a European brand, at least in my eyes. I think we should jump over to the Deere and see how well its spot spraying system compares to our Fendt. And then we'll head back to the show, just check out a couple more things. And that's going to wrap us up for the day. This is more my speed. The cab looks familiar. I'm back home, baby. The sprayer in the show, to my knowledge, is a slightly smaller version. This is the R4045. And I think this has 120-foot booms on it, if I'm correct. Yes, it just does not have the 360 yield drops, which is what it was back at the Deere booth. We never really looked at it. We might go back there and see it. But all it really does is through the middle parts of the boom, there's a bunch of lines that drop down, and it gets a better direct application to the crop for what you're spraying. While the booms are getting out, let's just get this set up. Oh, that one read it a little bit differently, but bigger booms, less passes. We'll probably try and work that top line so we can get the most amount of spray out in one pass. That is a monster of a sprayer. Wow. Again, no quad turning for this particular unit. That is one thing I do like about the Fendt, is that, you know, it has mobility. But a sprayer's boom width is so wide, why does it really need to turn sharp unless you're parking the thing? Anyways, let's spot spray. Oh, wait, maybe this thing doesn't have spot spray. Okay, so if it doesn't have spot spray, this is what it does. It will just spray out, and then you're technically wasting more chemical. Except the bar doesn't look like it's going down nearly that fast. So maybe it has spot spray on it, but it just doesn't have the individual ones visually like the Fendt does. Interesting. Something else I'd really like to invest in on the Nebraska farm particularly is irrigation pivots. This is a one-section segment from Corteva. And if I can get the map that I would like, I really, and I mean really, want to use Hubbard, Nebraska as the home for that series come next time. We are going to need to put at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 section pivots out in those plots just to keep them up on the irrigation if the precision farming is drying out these fields as bad as they are. Demco's got a pretty nice setup with the 2 auger wagons, a header trailer, and there's, oh, okay, that's the mother bin. That's pretty dang nice. What did Kinsey all have in their booth? It's like the Mocktail, 1051, and a planter. And then there is the fancy looking Merlot. It's got a 3-point on the back. I love that thing. And that's what I was talking about. I honestly am not 100% sure if that's what it is for direct application, but that'd just be my best educated guess. Yeah, this is a 38, slightly smaller. Still a really nice unit, nothing wrong with it. I think I might start heading my way over to the party areas and picking up a bite to eat. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in to this special episode of Farm Progress in Farm Sim. If you're going to the real one come the end of August, make sure to stop by and say hello if you do see me. I'm going to try to have maybe a couple pieces of merchandise on hand. I can't confirm that yet, but I'm definitely going to try. So that is going to do it for this one. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Other than that, make sure to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out. Peace.